Los Angeles, California, forensic psychiatrist, body language expert, trial expert witness, and Inside the Criminal Mind columnist, Dr. Carole Lieberman. Thank you both for joining me tonight. You know, Dr. Lieberman, one of the, I think, main issues in this case, it was mentioned very early on in the opening statements by the state, is that this couple adopted these children for the money. This is their supposition. This is their claim. I think they were making about $4,000 a month. That's kind of how it works. You get expenses from the state to take care of these children. Talk to me about parents that make that choice. It's not always sinister. It's not always for the money. You need the money. It helps you out. But people who adopt children like that, talk to me about them and where they are in terms of their emotions regarding those children.
Well, there certainly are people who foster and adopt children with all the best intentions and take good care of them. But that does not seem to be the case here. They had 2 children biologically, and they adopted 2 more. And then, then they got a little greedy, because it's $1,000 a month approximately that they get from the state for each of the fostered or adopted children. So then they got a little greedy. They wanted to buy a new house. And I find it so ironic and chilling that, in a way they used the money of Orrin and Orson for a certain period of time, helped them to put down money on the house and so on. And then in a way, they felt they didn't need them anymore. They had gathered enough money and now, they were too much trouble. They cried all the time, according to them. And 6 children, they really, realized a little too late, were too much for them. Now, I think the really sad part, I mean, it's all sad. Of course, it's sad that they are dead. But where it started was with CPS taking Orrin and Orson away from their biological mother. And she has said that, they asked her to do, she got a parenting license, a certificate from a parenting course, and then they told her to take some kind of therapy. And she said for some reason, she couldn't finish that. And then they used that as a reason to take the children away, which, really seems quite unfair. And of course, now with this ending, it's especially tragic.
Yeah, really. And anytime you shine a light on the way the system works, it's such a sprawling system. Things tend to fall through the cracks time to time, and things like this happen. It's just devastating. And Dr. Lieberman, I'll ask you, when a prosecutor wants to lay their case, at least in large part, in the laps of young children, and you're generally going to get these inconsistencies, or maybe not. You tell me. The question becomes, can you put your faith in the testimony of a 10-year-old? Can you?
Well, it all depends. As a forensic psychiatrist and expert witness, I have to deal with children and testimony of children all the time, in certain kinds of cases. And the key is how you question them. And of course, you should be doing this all the time on videotape. And you need to be asking certain kinds of questions, open-ended questions, questions where you can't be seen as leading them. And you could use also drawings, and there are ways to get them to feel more comfortable about telling the truth without leading them. And I think the key actually for Aiden, he was able to tell the truth the second time. They were all afraid the first time that they were questioned by law enforcement because, they thought, well, we will lose our parents and so on. And then when they were questioned by CPS, they felt more comfortable in telling the truth. And I think that, he's 10 years old. I mean, yes, there is always a question, how much can you put faith in them? The younger that a child is, of course, the harder it is. But if you videotape it and you ask these questions a certain kind of way, you can actually put faith in it.
Yeah, the question becomes, young children are suggestive. That's one of the issues I'm sure this jury is dealing with. All right, Veronica Morley, Dr. Carole Lieberman, thank you so much for joining me. Of course, we'll keep an eye on this case. Jury due back tomorrow morning.